At this particular time, when I look at Beyonce and Nicki Minaj, they remind me of Marilyn Monroe and Jane Mansfield back in the 60s. I don't know if any of you know the history of Marilyn Monroe or James Mansfield. They made a lot of money and stuff, you know, but they got used. And then when they got a certain age and stuff, you know, because I remember white women talking about, once you start, you know, once your breasts fall, once something happens to your butt and stuff, you know, white men gonna run from you and stuff. You had to get this stuff fixed and stuff, you know. And it seemed like they're perpetrating the same level that Marilyn Monroe, the sex object, their bodies, you know. And generally the only people who pursue this are into bodies. Now, most males, when I talk to, you know, since Michelle Obama and Oprah, I never heard males speak anything derogatory about these two females and stuff. I remember going back to the 60s when I was in high school, and I was in high school, and how guys would talk what they would do to different women. I constantly heard talk about what guys would do with Marilyn Monroe and James Mansfield. I never heard anything about guys would do like sexual stuff to Jacqueline Kennedy. It seemed like she was untouchable and stuff. When the president's wife, the first lady, I've never heard any guy talk about like we can do this stuff and blah. I've never heard stuff like this. I never heard, the 30 years Oprah been on, I never heard one male talking about spanking Oprah or putting a choke collar around her so she can, you know, bark at the moon. I've never heard that about her. But Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, I've heard guys talk about, I've been to parties, white, black, and Spanish guys. And they be talking about what they do to Little Kim. I mean, when they're girlfriends or something, you know, when guys get around, you know, you hear this stuff, you know. But like certain women, they don't even say anything about this stuff. What I'm trying to say right now is that like, you have to stop going over into the domain of the male. This is what this whole concept is about. Now, the movie The Matrix, I'm hoping, most people have seen The Matrix. The Matrix, but the Matrix was about taking the people from the machines, and the machines was governed by artificial intelligence. Me and Takina got together because we were saying you need a new power on the earth. You need a new ruling power and stuff. So what we're trying to do is like get a small group of women together who know the difference between the body, the mind, and the spirit, to form an organization so we can go out and we can do something positive. Now, one of the problems people have with loveography is a new concept. 1990, I got my non-for-profit statue. And what happened, one of the lawyers from Albany called me up, and they told me that like they was going to give this to me. But they said, we have a question to ask you. They said, it's no history of loveography. How can you teach something that doesn't have a history? So I asked her, what did she mean by that? She said, music has a history. Sports have a history and stuff. You can teach this. You can invent something around music, sports, and people understand it. But she said, you're talking about the next level of spiritual development. She said, I've never heard anything like this. But by this paper, I understand where you're coming from. How can you teach this? Because see, but during this time, most of the people I know, they was writers, playwrights, and lawyers and stuff. And these people knew what words mean. People are controlled and governed by words. This is how people function. And loveography is a new concept. Now, in order to stop this domination of the craziness of the male, because they're not going to stop this, you got to organize. You know, they're forcing you to organize. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to offer you an opportunity to see something visual to what the Otis was discussing. At this time, I offer you, the audience, a title of a flash tape called The Date.
that song, man. Every time I hear that song, I just want to just boogie the night away.
That song is fire. I'm sure they can get a lot of record sales off of that song.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm feeling a little bit tired, but every time I hear some music, man, I can just dance the night away. And today's my birthday, too.
Oh, today's your birthday.
So, you know, man, I just feel like jamming.
Happy
Woo!
birthday to you.
Oh, thank
Why don't we
you.
sit down and have a talk?
Sure, why not? Boy.
You know, I've been looking, at you all day, and I just want to let you know that you seem like a very interesting person, and I wish we could go somewhere and have some intellectual, stimulating conversation maybe, and get to know each other. I think I would like to really get to know you better. You seem like a real good woman who has herself together, and you're very beautiful as well.
Well, thank you, but what's the rush? Because if you want to get to know me, we could stay here for a little bit and talk some more.
Yeah, we can talk some more, but what do you want to talk about?
Well, for one thing, I like movies. How about you?
I like movies as well. What type of movies do you like?
Well, actually, I like kung fu. I like romance. I love action, like The Matrix. Oh my God, that's like one of my favorite movies.
It's like my third best movie.
Are you serious? One thing we got in common already.
One thing ahead of those is The Godfather and Goodfellas. Other than that, I love The Matrix.
Really? Well, you know what? There's actually this part of the movie. I think it was when Morpheus or something. He was telling the guy to take this pill. It was like a red pill or a blue pill. And I think it was basically like they were trying to get him to go from the physical into the spiritual.
Right.
And for me, that's like one of my favorite parts because I find today, just like you said, a lot of times men see me and they're always telling me, oh, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful. But I realize they're just looking at my booty, they're looking at my hips, they're looking at my breasts. And just like you're telling me, if you're trying to get to know me, I'm more than just what you see on the outside. So, you need to get in touch with my mind and my spirit.
Definitely, I definitely understand that. But you know what? That's a little funny. It's a little like Kevin Hart talking about how short he is or how he can't fight. That guy's really funny. It's got a lot of good material too, But
yeah, but not to cut you off, but the truth is, you ain't trying to get to know Kevin. You're trying to get to know me. So, are you really trying to get to know me, or are you trying to get to know me? Like, which one?
Well, I'm really into exploring your getting to know you.
Well, I'm trying to explore too, but more on the spiritual side, like that mental connection, not really a physical. I'm not trying to say that's what you're doing, but I just want to make sure you're trying to get to know what's really going on in my head and, not just...
Look, I'm not even about no head games. Are you going to go home and be united what?
Listen, if you're going to act like such a jerk, the only thing I'm going to ask you, if this was your daughter sitting here, would you want her to just open up her legs like that to somebody that she just met, or would you want her to keep her legs closed?
Whatever, bitch. Whatever.
Real nice song, really nice, baby. They're gonna make some mad money off this cut.
Every time I hear this song, I just feel like boogieing,
I
honey.
hate it, baby. And you showing them boogie.
Thank you, honey.
How you doing?
All right. Yeah, what you doing?
Sit over here for a little bit.
Oh,
Relax ourselves.
okay. All right. Ooh.
Yeah, that song is really, really nice. It's kind of loud in here, though. I've been noticing I was thinking about maybe we need to get out of here. Go someplace quiet, so we can chit-chat. So we can get to know each other, Because I like to know more about you. Because it seems like you got it all together there. And plus you look exquisite, my dear.
Well, thank
Real
you.
good.
Thank you very much. Well, let's do some talking. Have you ever seen that movie, The Matrix?
What? You got to be crazy. Matrix, that's my fourth best film. The only ones that come after that is, let's see, Titanic, Avatar, and The Dark Horse. But Matrix is all right. I like Matrix now.
Okay. Well, there's a scene, right, in The Matrix, if you can remember, where Morpheus, is asking Neo to take the red pill or the blue pill. And basically what's that symbolizing is going from the world into the spiritual world. You see? You know, I think about it and it's a shame that 40 years ago, marriages were doing so much better. You know why? Because actually now everything is about the physical. You know that? And I'm so tired of people just trying to go on the physical. You know, they just meet, they fall in love, supposedly, they jump in bed, and then they realize later on that they're just not meant for one another. You know, it's really a shame. I tell you. Did you know that the human body has 200 to 300 sense perception connections?
Really? You know, that sounds a lot like that guy Kevin Hart, who describes himself as being short and he can't fight. But the brother's hilarious. And whoever writes his music, they do a good job. I was following that brother from the beginning.
You know what, that's nice and all, but you still haven't answered my question.
You seem like one of these sisters that can think for themselves.
Well, I don't know about all of that, but I do like to explore how I'm feeling for you.
Listen, baby, hold it, baby, listen. I'm just looking for a good time. I'm not looking for no relationship or to get hooked up. Now, if you're not on the same page that I'm on, then you can cut this conversation right now.
You know, I used to think the same way until Wall Street told me that my grandchildren were going to be born owing them $40,000. I tell you, I'm not even married yet. Figure
listen,
that.
baby, listen. I sympathize with you, but what does that got to do with what's happening now?
Well, basically, I don't want somebody in my life who's not going to have a focus on the future, who doesn't care about life. You know, there's a bigger picture out there than just sex, you know.
You find somebody else.
You know what? How would you like it if you had a daughter and all she wanted to do was just have sex and, you know, you was trying to make a decision on whether she should open her legs or close her legs, huh? Suppose there was somebody who wanted to use your daughter.
Well, baby, you got a point.